The 2020 NASCAR season has been weird. That is an undeniable fact. We have seen a schedule flipped on its head, new drivers taking prominent roles in the leadership of our garage area, and most importantly, some unpredictable winners. In this video, we're going to take a look at the 16 drivers that made the playoff and try and figure out who will be going to Phoenix for the Championship 4 come November. First up is regular season champion Kevin Harvick. Coming into the playoffs with 57 points after 7 wins, along with the 17 top 5s and 21 top 10s, well, that just makes Harvick the favorite to make it all the way to finale weekend. The Ford team has been the flag bearer for Stewart-Haas Racing in recent years, and with all 4 cars in the playoffs, Harvick and crew would love to help their teammates. However, it has to be all about the California driver winning title number 2. In the playoffs, the tracks of Darlington, Kansas, and Texas will all be strong for the driver, the number 4 Busch Beer Mustang. And for sure, if Harvick makes it to Phoenix for that finale race, he will most definitely be the favorite to win it all come November. We now move on to the next guy that is definitely a favorite for that title, and that is Mr. James Dennis Hamlin. He's had a career year the last season with new crew chief Chris Gabehart, and together the duo has so far won 12 races over the course of this and last year. And they're going to look to continue that momentum throughout the playoffs, with trips back to Kansas and Darlington, as well as Hamlin's knack for plate racing. Those playoffs, they're going to prove to help the 11 team get back to the Final Four this season. With all the playoff points accumulated with those 6 wins, it would take a large string of bad luck to derail his career year in 2020 for the Virginia native. He won it last year at Phoenix in a must-win situation, and even though Harvick is the favorite, don't be surprised if it's Denny Hamlin hoisting his first title in November. The guy that has been riding the coattails of Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, the case for Brad Keselowski is simply this. No driver is smarter than Bad Brad when it comes to managing strategy during a race. This season, we've seen Brad and new crew chief Jeremy Bowens make calls that have put themselves in position to steal races away at Charlotte and Bristol. However, they showed flat track dominance at New Hampshire in early August, a track that many drivers were looking at as their last real chance to make improvements going into Phoenix at season's end. Brad brings those 3 wins into the playoffs along with the 9 top 5s and 19 top 10s, and will look to continue a strong season that saw him renew his Team Penske contract. Brad Keselowski is a threat for the championship, no doubt, and we'll see how that pans out throughout the playoffs. Next up is the second of the Team Penske trio, Joey Logano. The Middletown, Connecticut driver and 2020 have both been those curious cases. The 22 team was quick in the first 4 races with new crew chief Paul Wolfe. However, Logano has struggled since the season restart. 4 top 5s and 8 top 10s since starting the season with 2 wins can be seen as troubling. However, the wins at Phoenix and Las Vegas are huge, as the team will have the best stuff coming back to those tracks in the playoffs. He will, of course, be a threat at Talladega after a dominant performance at Daytona this past weekend, and is fast everywhere the series goes. Logano has also been strong at Martinsville, and isn't afraid to ruffle a few feathers, so don't be surprised if he is if he is a Final Four participant, and does so in shocking fashion again in 2020. The new fan favorite and Joey Logano's chief rival, Chase Elliott, is always a driver to look out for. Sure, this season has been frustrating throughout the summer for the 9 team. However, Chase is a driver that can win at any moment and rattle off some good, positive momentum. He did exactly this in his 2018 playoff run that saw him win races at Dover and Kansas in the round of 12, and the driver from Dawsonville, Georgia will look to have more success come playoff time. To do this, early season strategy blunders must not be made by Chase as well as crew chief Alan Gustafson. They also must bring cars that remind fans of those that came right after the hiatus in May. They haven't brought that speed throughout the summer, and it'll be interesting to see if the 9 team that was strong at Darlington in May will be able to do that again this weekend. If they want to raise the trophy come November, they're going to have to be more consistent. However, Chase does lead Team Chevy and Hendrick Motorsports with the 2 wins. It'll be interesting to see if that pays off throughout the remainder of the playoffs. What can I say about Martin Truex Jr. and his season? There was a thought at Daytona in February that the 19 team would struggle this year with the departure of Cole Custer. However, this has not been the case. Truex and new crew chief James Small have made some fantastic runs as of late and had a lot of momentum heading into the playoffs. He has 3 finishes outside the top 20 since the break, and has consistently been the second best Joe Gibbs Racing car. If he is to make a run at Title II, however, he will have to finish races off and have a bit more speed unloading the car. This is where a new crew chief could hurt the 19 team, but they visit most of the playoff tracks for a second time excluding the Charlotte Roval. They also return to Martinsville, where the combination won in June, as their last chance to make the Final Four. The 19 team has proven that they can compete, but without wins, making it all the way to Phoenix can be a troubling proposition for any team. In 2020, people have tried to make the argument that Ryan Blaney and the 12 team have been disappointing. However, it has been the terrible luck that Blaney has had all season long that has taken him out of races. With 8 top 5s and 11 top 10s, along with a win at the playoff track Talladega, Blaney and crew will have to put themselves in positions where the bad luck won't strike and affect their end results. It hasn't all been bad luck, however, for Blaney. Sometimes it seems in late race situations, the young driver could use some more coaching to get to a place mentally where he can close out these races come playoff time. Blaney has won on the Roval and twice at Talladega, but can the High Point, North Carolina driver rise to the occasion and rise to the next level in the Cup Series? Crew Chief Todd Gordon has done that, and he'll be integral to keeping his young driver up front with good strategy and great race cars. It isn't a matter of speed for the 12 team in Blaney, but rather if they can keep themselves out of troubling spots come playoff time. Bowman, the showman, hasn't been at the forefront of the show since the season restart. After impressive performances at Darlington and Charlotte, the 88 team has seemed to have fallen off in regards to speed. It is yet to be seen if that is because of the cars that crew chief Greg Ives has brought to the track, or if the team has been testing things out since they've been locked into the playoffs since their win at Auto Club in March. With only 3 top 5s and 8 top 10s on the season, the 88 team will need to start performing better come race day at Darlington if they want to make it far in the playoffs. Darlington is the perfect place to begin their rebound, and for Bowman, he has to be feeling some pressure to perform, as he's been the worst Hendrick car in recent weeks. A top 10 this past weekend at Daytona looks to put Bowman back on track, and hopefully regaining some of his early season momentum. If anyone can impress this year in the playoffs, it will be the showman, Alex Bowman. The newest winner on the scene, old William Byron, has seemed to have a bit more speed over the course of the summer. That isn't just taking into account the win at Daytona. Byron, in his 3rd year in the Cup Series, doesn't seem to have that pace that was once thought to be almost automatic when he arrived in the Cup Series in 2018. However, the Hendrick team has looked a little better. Hendrick as a whole has been rebuilding since Jimmy Johnson's 7th Cup title in 2016. Byron, though, is now paired with crew chief Chad Knaus, which at times has been a really confusing combo. Some weeks they look like world beaters with great speed, and then others they almost look like they're running lesser equipment. The Charlotte native will have to start picking up more top 5s and be a consistent runner in the top 10 if he is to make it past the opening round. It'll be interesting to see if the 24 team from the first Dover race shows up to Darlington this weekend, or if the team from the second Dover shows up and puts a beating on the field. All of Byron's teammates were fast at Darlington in the spring, but Byron himself will need to improve if he wants to move on further in these playoffs. While he was surprise winner number 2 on the season, he is the first of 2 on the playoff grid. Austin Dillon made his way into the playoffs after an upset win at Texas in July. The driver of the famed number 3 had already beaten his 2019 counts of top 5s and top 10s, as well as a career high in laps led. But for the 3 team to succeed, they will need some help. Richard Childress Racing has shown improvements all season long with Dillon and new rookie teammate Tyler Reddick. But it won't be enough to take the driver of the number 3 very far. Dillon is someone that many don't see going far in the playoffs, but this year has proven that anything is possible. And don't be shocked if driver number 3 can sneak out another victory early on in the playoffs. Cole Custer wins at Kentucky. This was by far the shocker of the year as the rookie pulled off the unthinkable in the Bluegrass State. However, Custer still has not shown the same speed as his Stewart-Haas Racing teammates on a consistent basis. With 2 top 5s and 6 top 10s, those numbers won't get the 41 team far in the playoffs. Since this win, though, he has posted 3 of those top 10s, but the team will most likely need more improvements coming during the playoff to make a charge at the title. With that being said, After Daytona, Custer has locked up Rookie of the Year for 2020, and this year has been one where the 41 team has been rebuilt to be a serious contender down the road. The combination of Custer and Mike Shiplett is something to look out for in the future. However, it doesn't seem like the driver from California will be able to make a hard charge at this year's Cup Series championship. Aric Almirola has had a strong summer behind some really good cars, as well as being very lucky in those starting lineup draws. Almirola has been Almirolling, sorry that wasn't a good one, throughout the summer, and looks to keep that up in the playoffs. 5 top 5s and 14 top 10s are his best numbers to date, and he looks to be the second out of the Stewart-Haas 4 that are in the playoffs. The new pairing with Mike Bugaravich has paid off for the 10 team this season, but they need to win races if they are to make it far. Furthermore, if Almirola is to make it to the round of 8 as he did in 2018, he'll need to convert those top 10s into top 5s on a more consistent basis, as well as squeak out a win at either Las Vegas or Talladega in the second round. That would help them make it to the round of 8, where one of his best tracks, Kansas, awaits these playoff drivers. Overall, a great year for Almirola no matter what happens, but this 10 team has the pedigree to do it and go far in this playoffs. In what has been flagged as possibly his last, Clint Bowyer has been a consistent top 15 driver all season long. Another driver that comes through with the powerhouse that is Stewart-Haas Racing, coupled with an uptick in performances heading into the playoffs, Bowyer could possibly sneak his way through the first 2 rounds and maybe make it to that round of 8. However, he and new crew chief Johnny Klausmeier have been a good combo, but not great. They've gotten these consistent finishes, but they don't seem to be winning races anytime soon. The speed just hasn't been there, but the SHR grouping of drivers always seem to bring trimmed out race cars to the track. Bowyer was strong at Darlington in May, so don't be surprised if he starts the playoffs out with a bang. The 14 team has the equipment to make a run at the title. It's just a matter of execution over the course of the next 10 races. Kyle Busch and the whole 18 team have been sleepwalking through the 2020 season. It can't be doubted that the lack of practice has affected the mojo of Kyle and crew, but heading into the playoffs, they seem to have gotten some of that winning swagger back. 11 top 5s and 13 top 10s are proof that the 18 car has some great speed and can definitely win come playoff time. However, it has to wear on the mind of Kyle and crew chief Adam Stevens that they haven't been too fast off the truck, and they will have to try and unload better to make it far in these playoffs. However, the tracks in the revamped playoff schedule are good ones for the Vegas native. The first round includes Bristol and Richmond, where Busch has won with the high horsepower aero package in 2018. The list of good tracks is long, including the championship race at Phoenix, so I really wouldn't count out the 2019 champ. Don't count him out of it just yet. Chip Ganassi Racing has had a rough road this season. That bright spot, though, over the hill, that's been Kurt Busch. The idea was that when Kenseth joined the team after the break, they would continue to have their winning speed. However, the 42 has struggled, and Kurt Busch has 3 top 5 since returning from the COVID break. Busch is going to be able to make it to the round of 12, but without playoff points, they will struggle to make it far. The first round has Darlington and Bristol, 2 tracks where Busch had top 10s earlier in the year, and Richmond is an unknown for everybody, as we didn't race there in the spring. Look for the Monster Energy number 1 team to advance out of the craziness of the first round, but they're going to have to continue to make some improvements and stop sleepwalking, to stop having those struggles if they want to make it far in this year's playoff field. For Matt Di Benedetto, the idea going into 2020 was that he and the 21 team would be able to compete for victories. Well, that hasn't been the case. Di Benedetto has only finished outside the top 20 3 times this season, with one of those being at his favorite and best track, Bristol. That coming after some bad pit stops with the 21 team and some speeding on pit road issues put them behind. Crew chief Greg Irwin will have to make some calls to get his driver track position, and it'll be an uphill climb to start the playoffs coming in with no points. Matty D will have to battle through it, but he is another driver with good equipment that could surprise and sneak a victory to advance out of a very competitive round of 12, especially with that Bristol elimination race. It'll be interesting to see if the California native can continue to help with rebuilding Wood Brothers Racing and what the future holds for Di Benedetto and that whole 21 team. As we look at round 1, the round of 16 in the 2020 NASCAR playoffs, I think there's a couple drivers that you can easily move on, those being Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Ryan Blaney, as well as most likely Kyle Busch, if that team can start to turn things around when it comes to getting race victories, or at least getting those top fives more consistently. It gets tricky, though. I think one guy that probably won't make it is Matt Di Benedetto. He's had a good season. It's been consistent. Again, all those top 20 finishes. But I have a feeling that, top 20s, just getting top 20s isn't going to get you out of this round of 16 unless a lot of guys have problems. So I have Matty D not advancing to the next round. Another guy for a similar reason is Cole Custer. Custer has shown a little more speed as of late, but we talked about how the rookie only has 6 top 10s on the season, and that those just aren't numbers that are going to make you a strong contender for the title. So I see Cole Custer being eliminated. Another guy for a very similar reason is Austin Dillon. Yes, he's posted career highs in top 10s this year and then also getting the victory at Texas. But Dillon, RCR, they've made improvements, but I don't see them moving on for again, similar reason as those other two. They don't have the speed consistently yet, but they are improving. So it'll be interesting to watch going into 2021. Then I'm kind of stuck between Clint Bowyer and William Byron. Bowyer hasn't been able to finish races. Byron hasn't had consistent speed. But I believe Bowyer, the pedigree of Stewart-Haas Racing, is what gets Clint Bowyer onto the round of 12, and we see William Byron fall once again in the round of 16 as he did last year, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I don't see Byron. He has a lot of momentum, but I just don't see that 2014 with the struggles they've had, and they seem to either be really, really good or really, really bad at these races. So those would be my first 4 out: William Byron, Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, and Matt Di Benedetto. But for all 4 of those drivers, a strong season, 3 of them getting victories, 2 of them their first career victories. And Matty D has shown that if they leave him in that 21 car in the future, he'll be able to make the playoffs on a more consistent basis and continue to help build that Wood Brothers team. With all of that being said, that'll do it for us here at JTN. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to continue to do these types of videos throughout the remainder of the NASCAR playoffs, possibly some race reviews. I know those are a hot button kind of video to do right now for a lot of NASCAR creators here on YouTube, and it would be kind of fun just to get some different ideas out there, take some more notes during the races than I already do. But thank you so much for watching. For all of us here at JTN, make sure you're checking out our Facebook page, giving us a like over there, checking out all our live and our 2003 broadcast, and we're building, we're getting better and better every single week and every time we get you guys out here. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like the video if you liked it. Comment below your predictions, and we'll see you after Bristol for sure with our preview for the round of 12, as well as looking at if my predictions were at least semi-accurate. I have a feeling they probably won't be, knowing my luck, but thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Joe Twansky signing out here for JTN.